Good morning, friends. Firstly, I wanted to talk about the objective of this video and introduce myself. And I want to go through the Libyan TV series called Rubik and talk about the differences between MSA and the Libyan dialect, just to get a better idea of that and to be able to watch these things without subtitles, though this series is available with subtitles, so that is very useful for English speakers. In this video, I'll be going through like the first episode, some of it, and commenting on some things and things that I've already watched the series, but I'm going through it again and making a list of the things that are different, like agreeb for qarib,
مش كبير هلبا.
things like halba for jidan, things like that. And excuse my pronunciation because I'm in America. When in a matarjuma fanana, I translate generally German to English, but I'm learning Arabic in my free time, and I've also gone back into learning some Latin as well, and it's interesting to see some of the similarities from people moving around back in the day. So the intended audience would be people interested in language in general, people interested in the Libyan dialect and learning it, and perhaps learning it along with me as I am going through this series and making videos about it. And I'm intending to eventually get to, other dialects and things, but you have to start somewhere. So, and Egyptian Arabic is so popular, I figured I have to start somewhere else. So I've been watching some Libyan cartoons, and this show came across my YouTube feed, so this is where we are now. So my background, originally went to university studying fine arts and animation after that, and then I changed my major to foreign languages and anthropology. So that's how I ended up this way. My old philosophy professor talks about Nietzsche and his interest in philology, so maybe that's my problem. I like obscure things related to language and culture. But yes, I also have studied, took 4 years of Spanish in high school before studying German and French in university, and briefly in Germany and Austria. And I took Latin in 6th and 7th grade, so I'm trying to get back into that as well, but I wanted to do something that is not directly related to Latin, so that's why Arabic. Also, Libyan Arabic sounds nice, so that is a reason to choose it. And sometimes I do videos about ancient recipes in Latin and things like that, so I've been looking into Libyan recipes for cuisine and recipes in Arabic in general. I've been using a lot of tahini. So I'll also put some links to some PDF file downloads of the lists I've made. And I want to organize them by episode, but also by, adjectives, adverbs, nouns, and so on. So I might end up doing a lot of editing here on the files as well. Watching through the series the first time, one of the things I noticed initially was no one used the word bait. They were using hosh, and I was wondering, did they say house?
نطلع من الحوش 6:30.
And also there is agreeb rather than qarib. You might have a sentence, Beiti qarib min al-maktaba, and this might become in Libyan Arabic, Hashi agreeb min al-maktaba. And also I am, rather than apologizing all the time, I'm just going to say, we'll watch the series and listen to Libyans say it, not me. I'm just making the lists here. Also, khidma for work or job rather than hamal.
ونركب الباص باش نوصل للخدمة بكري.
And the protagonist Marwan works at a garage, which, going through the books on MSA I have, and going through like Duolingo Arabic, the word you use for garage is garage with more of a K sound. And written on the side of the building in the show, it says Warasha Fauzi. So that's one of the things we encounter right away, also in writing. And as an example of differences, Warasha and Karaj. And if you squint your ears, you can, Karaj can become Warasha. I think. But yes, I'm learning Arabic for fun, so like the goal for me is to watch things like this. And I've watched a lot of news, like I've watched a lot of things, just clips from Al Jazeera. I've watched them on Libya, Al Arar news station. Like the other day, I watched a short clip. They were interviewing some people about groceries, the price of groceries. Groceries were ghalia. So and I have not been working on it for even a year so far, so I have a long ways to go. So the journey is part of the fun for me also, which also just reminds me that when I was thinking of going to grad school, a cultural anthropology professor, I was in his office and he said, there's no money in linguistic anthropology. He said I probably shouldn't do that, but I realized he was trying to give advice that he would give to a normal person. He's rather than me. He was making an honest mistake there. And additionally, one of the things that should be pointed out is substitution of a G sound for the ka sound. For example, the director's name, Osama Rezg. It is transliterated in many things as REZG rather than REZQ. And that also takes us back to the word agreeb. Agreeb easily becomes agreeb if you imagine sort of an intermediate form of garib. Transliterations or approximations, of course. And there's also the way some color adjectives switch the sounds within a syllable. Akhtar and khadra. Like Amira orders Shay Akhtar.
شو تشربي؟
شاي أخضر لو في عندك.
I prefer Shay Aswad. This sort of switching of the sounds within a syllable also is a thing that it is it happens more frequently, it seems. Salim also drinks a lot of tea, and as a cultural note, I noticed the tiny cups. I'm an American with my gigantic cups. And some of the vowel shifts are noteworthy as well, like Anna becomes N-A, like with an A sound, and this is in certain scenes becomes very obvious.
جايني أنا؟ لا جايني لي أنا؟
And the negations.
لكن مش حنتجوز الديناصور اللي جبتيهولي.
Mish rather than something like Leza. And in the opening, Marwan's voiceover says, Mish Arif,
مش عارف علاش كل ما نلقى خبزة طايحة نجيب.
for example. And then there's a lot of things with yes and no, answering in the affirmative or negative. Quais
كويس.
being used for good, and I think also for well.
اسمعني يا مروان كويس.
Fuzi uses bahi,
باي.
for okay, but also the word okay is used frequently.
أوكي. أيوة.
And akid for of course.
أكيد رتها بالبلاش.
And Wafa also uses, I think in one scene she uses the word something like gibbet.
جبتي الألواز والعسل. جبت.
To mean yes. And a lot of the use of halba rather than jidan.
مش كبير هلبة.
Which I think is also being used rather than khrali for rich or expensive. Like Amira's mother says.
مش كبير هلبة.
She's trying to say Nasser is not that old. Mish Kabir Halba rather than Laysa, Rajalan, Kabiran, Jidan, which of course the modern spoken dialects tend to get rid of all these declensions of nouns and adjectives. So it would kind of become Laysa Kabir Jidan is what, if we remove the declensions, it would become something like that. But in Libby, it becomes Mish instead of Laysa, and Kabir being used not just for big, but also for grown, for old. Mish Kabir and Halba rather than Jiddan. Also notice the word fulus used a lot for money or payments quite often in this show. I have my miswak and in sense. So that might be it for this. This is just the beginning of me noting all these differences that I notice in the series and going through the first episode again. Like, oh, well, I did forget one thing. Where did it go?
شوف شو جبت لك. هذه اللعبة اللي وعدتك بيها اسمها روبيك. هي صعبة شوية بس أنا نعرفك شطور وحتتعلمها بسرعة.
Is my Rubik. That's the only one I have. Oh, this one's falling apart. Stickers are coming off. To get that out as well. But I enjoyed the series, and I think I mean, I read something on a post somewhere that it would be good for learning Libyan Arabic, so I also went through it again with that in mind, rather than, just for watching a TV show, which, if you don't want to learn it, you could also just watch it as a TV show because it has English subtitles, but I figure I could go through and watch the director's other things where available without subtitles, once I go through this a bit more. So that's my goal. It just general interest in language and dialects and things, and to see if there's any interest. So I'll put links to downloads, and I also have been posting a bit about Libyan Arabic on my Substack, which is Amy Ballot 1. I'll put a link to that in the description as well. So thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe. It's good for the algorithms and such.